Right then, so I have no idea how that's actually going to look. I'm currently recording this on my iPhone because my camera's died. Normally I do these on a morning down at the beach. It is currently 9 o'clock in the morning. But I've just decided to do it in my pool today because we actually got it cleaned. Yeah, so I'm going to do the intro in here and kind of talk about today's video. So let's do it. It's cold in here, man. But yeah, so welcome back to the series of Taking the Risk. It's been a little while since I've been in front of the camera actually. Pretty much 2 weeks ago, went on a bit of like tilt mode, so to speak. Quite rough, I'm not gonna lie. I was very close to getting a payout on one of the accounts. And something happened in my personal life that kind of affected me mentally. And yeah, at that point there I was just like, do you know what? What's the worst that's gonna happen? I'll blow the account. And then basically was very close to a payout and then put the account in drawdown. And I was really kicking myself after, and it really affected like my confidence. So I basically just took a week off. Came back last week. Sorry, I'm shivering while doing this intro, it's just such a bad idea. But yeah, ended up last week getting back on the charts, and it was a much better week. But this one's pretty much been a break-even week for me. Probably my toughest month, to be honest, trading. Maybe down to mindset and psychology. But when there's bad news, there's normally good news, and within the bad news of obviously, you know, losing the opportunity of a payout, I ended up securing some more funding, so I'm very happy with that. But in today's video, the main things we're going to cover is the weekly recap. So I wanted to get into a habit of these. When I said it, I ended up taking a week off, so that was well timed. But yeah, so I'm going to be doing that today, taking you through this week's trading week, which is technically the start of May, end of April. I had a decent week, to be honest, but yesterday I kind of ruined it. So my psychology has been a little bit weird recently. I feel like I'm just rushing a little bit. So I had, again, an eval account that was very close to passing, and I was like, nah, I lost the trade, and then just decided to enter again, just didn't care about the outcome. And then obviously I lost the trade, and then it was a bit like, well, that sucks. That was just a waste of time, really. So kind of Friday's progress mitigated pretty much the whole week's progress in terms of like percentage gain. Oh, it's cold. Yeah, I'm sure that'll warm me up, just dive under. That's kind of been my week in a nutshell. It's been a relatively slow month in general, mainly down to my kind of decisions and making silly mistakes that I know I just shouldn't be making. But at the end of the day, it's the whole reason why we journal and we learn from these things. And I've taken a lot away from this month, like a lot away from this month. I'm really looking forward to May and kind of just seeing how we perform in May. I think it'll be really interesting to kind of see how I really keep my emotions in check, because April has probably been like one of the hardest months for me, but probably the best months in terms of lessons. Like, I've learned a lot from this month, so I'm really looking forward to kind of diving into it with you guys, taking you through some of this week's performance. I've also got something kind of interesting. It's going to be like a little challenge for me. I'm looking forward to kind of documenting the series, but I'll leave that as a bit of a surprise for you, because yeah, I think it'll be quite interesting. Everything else is doing alright though. But yeah, so it's been a bit of a crazy month in terms of my trading, but ready to bounce back. All the other members have been smashing it, and it's really good to see. And I just can't wait to see what May brings. So with that being said, I'm going to get out of this because it's cold now. I mean, that was like 6 minutes in there. I don't think that was too bad. Straight into the weekly breakdown. As I mentioned, this week was relatively good until Friday, but I'm going to kind of run it through with you guys as much detail as possible and kind of show you. So this is my kind of weekly trading review. So week on week, I'll essentially review my weeks. I think this is a really important habit to build. If you're someone that kind of puts off doing this, it's really good for reflection purposes. I'll be able to kind of identify, you know, what's going right and what's going wrong, and be able to kind of identify specific thought patterns that are affecting your trading, basically. So this was week 17, so the end of April, start of May. Monday. So I don't normally trade London on Monday, just let price do its thing, get a bit more of a directional bias going into the day. It was relatively clean price action on Monday, to be honest. This was the kind of prediction I had. So obviously this is the open of London session, we obviously slow grind higher. I would normally wait for a sweep of Asia high to then look for the pullback into the range, which we did have, but there was no valid trade for me in terms of, you know, the confluences that I look for. I thought we were going to come for this previous day high and then obviously sweep the Asia low. Pretty much happened to a T. In terms of actual trades in New York, the only valid setup I saw was this, but it was a little bit low in the range. We already swept these major lows down here, and it's a bit more of a high risk trade. So just decided to stay away, okay not being involved. For me personally, I'd quite like to be, you know, within the 4-hour bottom wick, and this obviously, you know, was just a little bit too choppy for me. So decided not to get involved on this one. But on another note, I mentioned in the start of the video that I basically got close to a payout just on one account and basically put it all down the drain. And it's actually really interesting because this account, as you can see here, if it crosses this red line, you actually blow the account. Now this had $52 worth of drawdown left. I basically went on tilt mode, went from 51k to 48,000 to 60. So I had $52 off blowing the account, so I had $52 worth of drawdown left. So my aim at the moment is to get this account out of drawdown and to try and get a payout on it, because I think it will show one, my execution and ability of a trader, and also I think it will also prove to me that if I'm ever, let's say, trading a funded account and it goes into drawdown, a lot of people can kind of go on tilt mode and they'll go, oh, I'm in drawdown, this is bad, this is bad. If I can get an account out of $52 worth of drawdown and get a payout on it, anything is possible. So it's essentially just going to solidify for me that regardless of what situation my accounts are in, if I can get a payout on this account, anything is possible. So pretty much on the 15th of April, this account had $52 worth of drawdown left, and on the 28th, I've managed to scale it up to $700 worth of drawdown. That's just, again, following the strategy that I use, and also just kind of my basic knowledge of market conditions, price action, you name it. So yeah, it's looking okay. I'm just taking it slow, I'm not trying to rush. So we'll see how far I can get on the account in the next couple of months. So I'll keep you updated on that. I think every weekly trading recap we'll check in on this account and see, you know, how we're progressing. So Tuesday, London session, not the best price action. Coming into the day, I wanted to look for longs. We did end up having a decent sell-off during London session, as you can see here. And then, this was my kind of prediction for New York. So I think we tap into this hourly gap and then continue higher just for these highs, maybe go for the Asia high. Based on where we were in the range as well, we were coming into discount. So good opportunity to look to long. And as you can see here, this is exactly how New York session played out. So I've been feeling very in sync with the markets. The markets have been very clean and very easy to read price action. So being able to read price action like this and as precise as this just gives me confidence when entering trades as well. In terms of New York session, actually, there was this relatively clean setup. So we tapped into the hourly gap here. We started to stall. We ended up creating a local div and we had some nice momentum through this 3-minute gap. Unfortunately, I missed this opportunity, but at the same time, it's just one of those things. It was a very strong trade for me. As you can see, with the momentum, we had a nice reaction out of this hourly gap after we stalled. This wick here, obviously another sign there's a lot of bullish momentum behind this move. And it was just quite clear that we were drawing higher. So I was relatively confident in this trade, but unfortunately I missed it. You can see, we obviously wait for the candle closure. The candle closed very close to the edge of the gap. So took me a little bit more time to kind of adjust to my risk, and then by the time I did it, it moved so fast that I was looking to enter here and it would just scuff the risk to reward. So it wasn't worth entering, so I just stayed out of that trade. Unfortunately missed it. However, if I come off this very quickly, we did end up catching a trade. I'll be honest, I was a little bit gutted that I missed this setup. So just simply waited for a pullback. As you can see here, that it's essentially the same trade. And you can see here that we ended up having a strong pullback, created a divergence where ES took this low and NQ didn't. It was in the 15-minute gap, and then we had a 30-second gap here. I don't have access to the 30-second gap on TradingView. Simply waited for a candle closure, and we ended up continuing higher. Probably a little bit more of a higher risk trade, but based on the confluences that I had, pretty much had everything on my checklist. So local div, respecting the high time frame gap, momentum, a relatively clean target as well, just these highs, and it ended up continuing higher. Based on the bullish order flow that we were having throughout the week, I was very confident in a continuation higher, so I was happy to take this trade. So Wednesday, very slow day, 0 trades. Price action was absolutely awful, so just skip that day. And then Thursday, so London was no trades. Again, not had the best price action in London. I don't think this week I've taken a trade at all in London, but that's absolutely fine. So in New York, I actually took a decent trade. It was a simple continuation play. So it was the 10 a.m. squeeze 9 a.m. So the 10 a.m. reversal model. So it was a strong sign of a reversal, and it was very clean price action again, clearly wanting to draw higher. Taking on a 30-second chart is probably isn't the best screenshot, but we did actually tank a little bit of drawdown. I think my stops was my stop was around here, I think. Obviously we got the candle closure, which was nice, and then obviously we nearly got wicked out, but obviously held through. Ended up coming up nice for, I believe that was a 1 to 3, so that was a very nice trade. Now on Friday, this is kind of where the progress that I've made from this week kind of went downhill, mainly in my mindset, and also these kind of weekly returns. So NFP, it's the first Friday of the month, meaning non-farm payroll, meaning pretty high risk conditions. London, didn't take any trades. And New York, the price action was awful. Like, look at this, it's just not clean. There's no clear direction, we're just stalling, we're consolidating, just generating liquidity. And unfortunately, I got caught up in that. So you can see here, we ended up taking 2 trades. Now, if you spot the issue, and if you know me well enough, I take 1 loss per session. So if I lose in London, I don't trade for the rest of London. And if I take a loss in New York, I do not trade for the rest of New York. So I limit myself to obviously less losses and be able just to walk away for the day with a loss. It's completely fine. You can see here that this was taken on an evaluation account, so it wasn't funded or anything like that. And I think my emotions kind of with eval accounts, I definitely rush them just because they don't really cost much. And if I can just pass an account quickly, it's just all right, I guess. But the issue is, obviously here, I broke my rules. I'm not building good habits, I'm just rushing. So although it's taken on an eval account, you have to think, I'm not here to make money, I'm here to follow my plan, I'm here to stick to my rules, and I'm here to execute accordingly. The first trade was completely valid. You can see here, the first trade pretty much had all the confluences on my checklist. So I took an RTE, so you can see here that we candle closed. As soon as we candle closed, I was anticipating a push down to this low. Obviously, got tagged into the trade, stop was above this high, ended up getting stopped out. And then because I got wicked out, I was a little bit like, well, we're starting to reject now. So then I took another sell position here once the candle turned bearish. And then obviously it got manipulated out again. So it was a little bit annoying, it was a bit of a kick in the teeth. And it was just a bit like, well, I shouldn't have re-entered. Like, I should have just been okay with taking the loss and just letting price run. But because the account was like 1% off passing anyway, I just kind of rushed. So the eval is still alive, it's still in a good spot. It's just a little bit annoying that I rushed, and yeah, just kind of mitigated progress that I didn't need to mitigate essentially. So yeah, a little bit of a mindset issue. The issue was I was just being stupid, not really focused on following the plan, and more trying to pass the account, and instead I lost 2%. So it is what it is. The overall week summary. So just to kind of recap, this month has definitely been my hardest in terms of my emotions. I think some days the price action has been really clean, and some days it hasn't. And obviously I had a little hiccup, something happened in my personal life that kind of messed with me mentally, so I ended up just making a lot of silly mistakes. So taking the week off definitely helped, but regardless, this month has definitely been the hardest for me in terms of my mindset. I feel like it's been better, and I'm definitely feeling more myself, and I'm feeling in sync with the market, obviously being able to kind of predict the moves, and also just, you know, having clean price action helps with that 100%. I've definitely been in a much better headspace. Unfortunately, Friday did kind of ruin it for me though, but I'm edging closer to the payout goal, and I'm also feeling very confident in my ability to execute correctly with precision. So again, I'm confident when I'm sticking to my plan. It's just when I break my plan and I break my rules, I kind of kick myself for it. So I don't really know why I do it, but we are human, we are going to make mistakes, and this is why we journal, to be able to kind of keep ourselves accountable and be able to look back on these moments and go, you know not to do this, so don't do it again. Never make the same mistake twice, that's what they say. So my goals for next week are, they're relatively simple goals, to be honest. It's more psychology based. I know my strategy is profitable, so I'm not really necessarily looking at changing my strategy or anything like that. It's more just kind of changing my headspace and changing the way I'm kind of approaching the market. So be in the neutral zone. So the neutral zone, to explain it to you, is essentially where I'm in a clear headspace, I've got no distractions, I'm purely focused on, you know, looking for my confluences, listening to what my mentor is saying, and just not, again, letting certain emotions creep in, call it like emotional tilt, whatever you want to call it. So just being in the neutral zone, being calm, being okay with not trading, and turning up to the market with a very much clear headspace. 1 loss per session, walk away. So again, this is just kind of drilling it into my head. Obviously last Friday, took a loss, entered straight in again,
took another loss. So just making sure that I don't break this rule twice, because if I do, then it just clearly shows that I'm not respecting the process. Slow down trading on the evals. So obviously I normally have evals running alongside my funded accounts. So if there's a trade that's probably not the best, it's a little bit more risky, I normally take it on my eval accounts. The way I'm going to kind of approach it now is if I blow those accounts, strictly just going to focus on the fundeds, get the payout, and then obviously scale up more that way. And then just put more time into sharpening my psychology, really. So watching more psychology videos, journaling more in depth, and just kind of understanding my thought process. I obviously journal whilst I trade as well, and definitely see good results from doing that. But obviously I took a break from trading and then came back. Didn't necessarily journal properly as I traded, wasn't really focused. So yeah, this month has been definitely rough, but it's been okay. In terms of my actual returns for this month, so I've still managed to come out on top. So this is my returns each month. So February being the best month, and April still, you know, a decent amount, but it's not up to the standard for me. This should have been so much higher, by the way. This should have been at least a 10-hour month, but based on stupid emotional decisions, rushing the process, I've just mitigated all that progress. And it just shows you really that if you actually stick to what you're supposed to do, you will be profitable. It's those things that when it's those things where you revenge trade, you're getting into trades that you probably know you shouldn't be getting into. You're making reckless decisions without even thinking about it. You see a bullish candle and you think, right, I'm just gonna long it for the culture. Those things right there are what is genuinely holding you back. And if you just stick to the plan, long term, you will be profitable. So I'm 2% off a payout. So I'm hoping that, I mean, I'm not putting a time on it, but I'm hoping that I can keep that consistent. The trades on it have been relatively consistent as well. So yeah, hoping to be able to kind of scale up and see what next week brings. And I'm hoping that come May, obviously it's the start of May now, a bank holiday on the Monday, so I won't be trading. But we'll see how we perform, see what happens in terms of my emotions and see what changes, and also just, you know, being able to hold myself accountable. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's really exciting. So if you enjoyed today's video, feel free to show some support. As always, links down below if you wanted to come join us trading. If also you want this trading journal for completely free, just comment Discord. I'll happily send it you over. You have to join the Discord for it, but the Discord's completely free anyway, so don't worry about that. But this is my trading journal that I use. It's really good for kind of tracking my progress, and all of this will already come on the trading journal, so you understand how to use it. And if you are curious about the strategy, you can also have a little look into these trades, and you can have a little look and see what conflicts we look for. And then obviously if you wanted to message me one-to-one, you're more than welcome to do so. But that is going to wrap it up for today's video. So I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Probably do another one of these next week and see exactly how we've kind of progressed. We'll be leaving Cyprus soon, actually. I'm here for a little bit over a month now, and then we'll be transitioning back to my office in the UK, which will be really exciting as well. I'll show you that. And see how much changes actually from being in Cyprus to being in the UK. Completely different atmosphere, completely different routine. Right now I'm just sat at a table while I'm trading, so it's not the best environment to trade, but actually being in an office, being in an environment where it's quiet, peaceful, and, you know, being able to trade is going to be much better for me. So looking forward to showing you that as well. But with that being said, I'll see you all on the next one. Take care.